Here's a rough, beat-up looking stereo that I saw at the flea market about a month ago with a $35 price tag on it, and I said to myself, there's no way on earth that I'm giving $35 for a junky, beat-up stereo from the 70s. This console was made during the era when the quality of consoles was starting to take a nosedive. Well, yesterday I was at the flea market, and the vendor who owned this, who I've dealt with in the past, asked me if I wanted this thing. I said, "So you're giving it to me?" He said, "Yes, if you want it, I'll give it to you. I'm tired of looking at it. I need the room for other things." So I said to myself, well, since it's free, I'll drag it home and maybe some parts I can use in it. As you can see, this cabinet is rather beat up. And looking at this black area on the wood here and on the side, I think this thing might have been in a fire at some point and got a little water damaged. Now, the name of this stereo is Howard. Now, the only Howard brand I'm familiar with is the old Howard brand of tube radios that were made during the 30s and 40s. Well, this was made in the 70s, so I seriously doubt there's any relationship there. This is probably just some department store brand. It's got an AM/FM radio with your usual volume, bass, treble, balance, and record changer. Has a setting for neutral, 16, 33, 45, 78. And our off-on reject knob. And here is the size selector. This cheap changer doesn't even have automatic size selection. 7, 10, and 12 inch. And when I first saw this changer, I thought it might have been a VM changer, but after looking at it, it's actually not a VM changer. It's an Admiral record changer. And yes, Admiral made their own record changers. And here's the back cover. Have connections for external speakers and an auxiliary input. Now there's an EIA code on here of 772, and I looked that number up, and it corresponds to Television Manufacturers of America. Now, somewhere in Illinois. Now, I'm not familiar with that brand, but the code was in existence from, I believe, 62 until 75. And by the way, I powered this up just to see what it would do, and the controls and switches are so dirty that I can't even make a really good evaluation. There's a good chance this stereo will become an EOL, or end of the line. Hadn't made an end of the line video in a while. It's about time I make one, but open this up and see what's inside. And here's the inside of this fine particle board stereo. I see somebody's comb is laying in the bottom. The speakers look like Quam brand speakers, so those should probably be decent enough if I decide to salvage them. There's the radio chassis. Looks very Japanese to me. And there's the record changer, which, like I said, is an Admiral changer. I found a 1970 date code on it. So I guess just for kicks, I'll pull the chassis out and clean the controls and see what it does. But if I can fix this thing without having to spend any money on it, I will. But if I have to spend any money on it, I'll probably EOL this thing, because it's actually not worth spending any money on. Because I actually couldn't get much for the thing anyway, given the shape that it's in. I've got a friend that sells used stuff at yard sales and flea markets, etc., and sometimes he can sell this kind of stuff, but even if it worked perfectly, I don't expect it would bring over 20 or 25 bucks, so it sort of limits our options. Okay, we'll pull the chassis out and see what it looks like. And here's the chassis, definitely Japanese built. Don't know who made this for them. I don't recall ever seeing one exactly like this. And there are the 4 output transistors. Here's the underside of the chassis. Now, I'm going to get my spray control cleaner and spray all these controls and see what happens. And then we'll determine at that point whether this stereo gets saved or EOL'd. And that stands for end of the line for those who are not familiar with the way we've done things in the past. Okay, the potentiometers have been cleaned and the chassis has been reinstalled. Okay, now the moment of truth.
You cannot prove by the Bible over.
Well, it produces action, but that's with the volume control turned all the way down, so. Yeah, I believe these pots are totally shot, so guess what? EOL time. Okay, here's what we're saving out of the console stereo. Saving. Now, get this straight. S-A-V-E. I'm going to save this stuff. Again, I'm going to save this stuff. For those of you who can't comprehend what that means I'm keeping it. It's not going to meet the same fate as this cabinet here. And with that said, let's see how easy it is to destroy this cabinet. Those tops are just not made to withstand much pressure, are they? Let's see how much trouble it is to get the bottom out. And look, I don't even have shoes on suitable for that purpose. Cheap particle board garbage. This is going to be easier than I thought. Come on, break! Maybe I do need to go get the good shoes. Okay, never mind the shoes. Pieces flying everywhere. Sorry about that, I needed both hands. Coming apart nicely, isn't it? Okay, let's see how well built the front is, how well this is attached. These front panels sure don't hold together well, do they? Oh, I need both hands again. Sorry. I guess I should invest in a tripod or a second person to come help. And there you go. The remains of a 1970 Howard particle board stereo that has met the end of the line. It will officially meet the end of the line Thursday when the garbage truck comes. So, thanks for watching, and I've got another EOL video in mind right now. Stay tuned, you never know when it will appear. Okay, there you go. More to come later. And goodbye. May you never cause any more problems.